Chairman, we're live.
Welcome back to our April 28th afternoon meeting. Next up on our agenda is the public hearing for ordinances and some resolutions regarding the Cascade Area of Impact and the Donley Area of Impact. Thank you for everyone that's here for this discussion. So Cinda, it looks like the first one up is the City of Cascade. If you want to start with that one. Is there anyone here for the City of Cascade? Oh, okay.
These are actually a combined public hearing with separate action items. So I don't have to reiterate the entire text of the staff report.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
so
great.
they are combined.
Okay, so this is on both of the cities
Yes.
then, okay?
Yes. So the staff report for impact area boundary adoption of the City of Cascade and the City of Donley. In 2024, the Idaho State Code 67-6526 for impact areas adjacent to cities was changed. Valley County is currently working with each city to adjust their impact area boundaries to meet the criteria specified in the code. The deadline for compliance with the state statute is December 31st, 2025. The impact areas are currently governed as follows. Cascade Impact Area, it's the Valley County Comprehensive Plan, Valley County Ordinances, and it's administered by the Valley County staff. The Donley Impact Area is the 2002 Donley Comprehensive Plan, the Valley County Code, and then administered by Valley County. Proposed impact area boundaries and governance. Results of the meetings between the Board of County Commissioners and each city council are as follows. The City of Cascade declared an intent to not establish an area of city impact at this time. However, after receipt of correspondence from Little Enterprises LLP, the specified properties will be included. Valley County Ordinance 2025-04, Cascade Impact Area is a map of the City of Cascade, city limits that will be adopted as the Cascade Impact Boundary, and the map is attached. If the board decides to include the little property within the boundary, the map will need to include the two parcels. Valley County Comprehensive Plan and Valley County Code will continue to be the governing documents, and the Valley County staff will continue to be the administrators. In the City of Donley submitted the agreed upon map with the boundary description. They do desire to have special consideration concerning storage, unit design, and annexation considerations for properties adjacent to the city limits to be included in the upcoming Valley County Comprehensive Plan and the Valley County Code amendments. They would also like the City of Donley Master Transportation Plan to be considered. The City of Donley impact area boundary will be decreased by the previous impact area and is shown on the attached maps. The Valley County Comprehensive Plan and the Valley County Code will be the governing documents. The Valley County staff will continue to be the administrators. Valley County Comprehensive Plan will be adopted by Resolution 2025-10 in the Donley impact area immediately after adoption of the Valley County Ordinance 2025-05 for the Donley impact area. And then I kind of highlighted the summary of that Idaho Code 67-6526. The state, the county commissioners make the final determination regarding area of impact boundaries. Those impact area boundaries are not to be used to stop growth, and it's the ability and likelihood of a city or cities to annex lands within the area of impact in the near future.
So Cinda, let me stop right there. So when you say in the near future, there is a 5-year window on that, correct?
Right, but this is just what the statute states
Okay.
in their,
Thought it was specific to the 5-year window.
it is, I'll get to that.
Okay, okay, thank you.
That was just, their summary of their statute,
Oh,
the
got it.
initial part, and then they go on to describe the criteria.
Okay, thank you.
They say the cities and counties should work together to develop a proposed area of impact to be considered at a public hearing. This is that public hearing. And then they state an area of impact must be established before a city may annex adjacent territories pursuant to Idaho Code 50-222. And then I inserted a portion of 50-222 that says annexations must be of property inside impact areas. and the subject land may extend beyond the city area of impact if the land is contiguous to the city and the comprehensive plan includes the area of annexation. So, if a city wanted to annex beyond the impact area, they would have had to have included that area in their comprehensive plan. Otherwise, you would have to go back through this process and then do the annexation.
So it'd behoove them to put it in there now if they even thought
Yes,
that was gonna happen.
yes. So, then it goes on to state the criteria that shall be considered when determining an impact area. And I kind of separated it here for you. It includes anticipated commercial and residential growth, geographic factors, transportation infrastructure and systems, including connectivity, areas where municipal or public sewer and water are expected to be provided within 5 years, and other public service district boundaries. And then B, in addition to that criteria, an area of impact shall not exceed the areas that are very likely to be annexed to the city within the next 5 years. And then it also states those areas shall not extend more than 2 miles from the existing city limits unless there's a large parcel and then you don't dissect that parcel.
Right.
With the impact area boundary. It states the applicable county's comprehensive plan and zoning and subdivision ordinance shall apply in the impact area. The county may adopt individual county comprehensive plans and zoning and subdivision ordinance provisions regardless of a specific area of impact. So that's the general portion of the staff report. And I attached the Idaho Code 50-222, the Idaho Code 67-6526, and then provided you with 2 worksheets. One of them is for the city of Cascade. And if you look to the projector, this is the proposed city of, this is the city of Cascade boundaries. And we also included this area here, which is the little property LLLP. Those 2 parcels that they had requested in the letter that they submitted. And it seems like, sorry. Good, okay. Yeah. And then I also attached the City of Cascade Resolution 2508. And then there's another map. Shows without the boundary. I mean, without the little boundary.
That map doesn't show the city limits, does it?
Yeah, it shows the city boundary,
Red line's the current.
and then the hatched area is the property that would be included.
All that, so there's no impact area around it at all, is that correct?
They propose no impact area. However, in between noticing, we did receive a letter from people adjacent to the city that would like to remain in the impact area.
And that's what the
And that's what
Little's property is.
That's what this hatched area is.
Sure. That would be the only piece of impact area would be that.
Yes. The city of Cascade believes that they have enough property within their boundaries for infill, and they don't believe that they have enough city sewer and water to aggressively annex at this time.
I follow you.
They would like to see more infill.
Right. Okay.
So that would be a decision that the board will, the board will have to choose which ordinance you want to approve. I wrote 2 different ordinances, one that creates an impact area with this included, and then one that just states that the existing impact area ordinance, but I want to use the proper words. You should have two ordinance 2025-04 in your packets. One says, the Valley County Code as it exists today, 7-2, is rescinded in its entirety. But 7-2 will remain a placeholder in the Valley County Code for future City of Cascade impact area codes. That would be the entire ordinance that you're adopting with the attached City of Cascade boundary map. The other ordinance will be the full impact area ordinance. That would also include this hatch mark. So you'll have to decide which one you want to do.
Lucinda, on this map, where the hatch marks are, the little rectangular in there, that's already city, correct?
This is not city. The
No, right,
You're talking about
no,
ins-
down,
right off the
This is
highway,
city.
yeah.
that is city already.
Yes, this
Okay.
is city, it's city on 3 sides. I can show you here.
Oh.
See the yellow line? Okay. And the current impact area is that. So it's a significant reduction to their city limits or their city limits with the inclusion of this piece here.
So the,
Representative in the next 5 years for certain.
so all the impact area is gonna be deleted, except for that little hash mark, one of the littles,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
On that little area that's on the other side of the airport's almost an enclave right now that's surrounded by non-city.
Which
I
one?
mean, the airport's on the other side, but
Airport's part of the city too.
it's on the other side of the or of the 55 right now.
Yep.
Oh, this here, this,
So the stuff I was talking about, the rectangular box. Even though there's a road and it's in between that, that's still contiguous with the city, and that's why it was allowed to be annexed in before. Is that correct?
this.
I mean, the 55 doesn't block that contiguous
No,
conversation.
it
Okay,
does
so a
not.
roadway won't block
Yeah, you
that.
can annex over water bodies, roads.
That's where all the shops
Get it on that one.
are out there.
So, when you get to deliberations, I would ask that you would work through the worksheet so that we are able to put together the written findings.
Is that something we need printed?
I gave it to you.
I'm finding it.
I left mine at home. It's laying right on my desk.
I made sure you had. it.
I know you did. I left it laying right
I've
on
got
my
some
desk
notes.
too.
We don't have it printed, but, okay, perfect.
You got copies?
As long as you
I
got
have
copies, that'd
2
be
extra
great.
packets here. Hopefully. And somewhere in there is that, are the worksheets. What is that?
Did you print yours? Were you a good girl?
They provided me a packet because I like hard copies.
Okay, and then I think that kind of, the proposed motion is to approve, you know, the ordinance 2025-04 with the attached map in order to reestablish the City of Cascade impact area boundary in accordance with 6765-26, subject to the approval of the written findings of fact and conclusions of law. And the ordinance shall not be recorded until such time that the findings of facts and conclusions of law are approved. So I would, if you decide to make a decision today, we could put together the facts and conclusions, bring that back for your final decision on those, and then record the ordinance. At that time, we could probably get the signature. Oh, that's the Cascade one. Then I prepared a similar packet for the city of Donley, but there are some differences with the city of Donley.
You want to do the public hearing separately and see if anyone's here for Cascade, or you want to just do it all at once?
You can just do it all at once and just keep track.
That's good.
I'm trying to get. Give that a break for a minute. City of Donley. They prepared a nice land use map, official map with a meets and bounds description. This one you can see a little bit better. Don't have that. So that's the one we really need to see. Have to get that back up. Sorry.
Right, this map's probably,
Hmm?
map's probably fine.
Well, I was going to show you the existing impact area.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't realize all that stuff clear out to Wallace had already been adopted in or annexed in.
Now, that was a big development that was supposed to go in the early 2000s. So here's the city of Donley here.
Mm-hmm.
And their impact area. Goes
take
from
off-
Barker to Wallace.
You take off the addresses.
Goes from Wallace to Barker. West, then east. The new map shows a decrease in this area here on the eastern boundary. Okay? Okay. So the city of Donley, same worksheet. We received a letter from Mark Butler and Lori Clemens with the city of Donley. And they've determined that the remaining areas are reasonable areas for potential annexation due to the proximity of the current city limits and possibility for infrastructure expansion. The impact area boundary map will be included in the Valley County Comprehensive Plan. And then the city of Donley also requested we adopt their master transportation plan annexation recommendations and consider design considerations for storage units. I put together a proposed motion that is exactly the same as the city of Cascades, but it also includes resolution 2025-10, because currently the 2002 comprehensive plan, the city of Donley, is applicable in the impact area. We didn't adopt their newest, we need to adopt the Valley County Comprehensive Plan. That's my staff report.
So they'd also asked about their master transportation plan. Is that something that we have up for adoption also?
Not at this
Or-
time. We're going
okay.
to reference that in like a comprehensive plan and
Okay,
see if there are changes in standards that we would need to put into our ordinances.
Cinda, that map's different from mine.
that's their map now. That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
asking.
now. This is what's being proposed.
So they're bringing it back.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, that's based upon the meeting you had with them last fall.
oh.
when Donley comes up, we can discuss, I mean, the transportation planning is a part of all of this, so their master transportation plan. We're currently, our road department takes care of all of that, so that's, I'm wondering about adopting their transportation plan. If, yeah, you're right, if it doesn't meet county code as far as the roads themselves.
Right away with
No.
some
Right.
design criteria, that type of thing. So we'll have to take a look at that.
Okay.
There,
Okay.
you know, might just be language in the comprehensive plan concerning
That
that
references.
connectivity.
Yeah.
Didn't we implement, or didn't we put the map in their transportation map, just the map in our comprehensive plan with
Not
their
yet.
major collectors?
It hasn't been adopted yet, so.
We talked about that at a P and Z workshop.
We did, but
Oh.
we haven't adopted the plan yet.
Okay. Oh, yes, we haven't adopted the new comprehensive plan. But
We'll include it in that. I'm not sure exactly what that is going to say. I'm sure that they'll be very involved in it. They asked us to adopt all that and we didn't do it yet.
Working toward that.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the rest of your,
That is the end of my staff report. You
More
all have
questions for
copies of
staff?
the ordinances and the resolution prior to this. The ordinances, I just changed the wording in our existing Cascade Impact Area Agreement. Got old codes, put in new codes, changed some verbiage, depending upon criteria for impact areas and that type of thing.
any more questions for Cinda?
I don't, I'm good.
The next up is presentation by applicants. Is anyone here that is presenting for City of Cascade? Miller, will you show that no one was present? Okay, up next for the applicant for the City of Donley. Welcome.
Welcome. Mark Butler, 1675 East Bishop Way, Eagle, Idaho. Nice seeing you all. It's been a long time. I'll be brief. First of all, thanks, Cinda, and you all for working with us. We've come a long way. Only had two things to comment on. One's typo-oriented. If you look at the ordinance for Donnelly, there's 3 or 4 spots where it still says Cascade. So if you could just, on a typo manner, when you adopt the ordinance for us, just change wherever it says Cascade to Donnelly. That's the first thing.
For pointing that out.
Yes,
That's okay. I just noticed it while I was sitting here.
Oh, perfect.
I really like the ordinance representing City Donnelly. I think it's great. Could you, by chance, turn to the ordinance to 736 comp plan language, if you have that in front of you?
That's something you can bring up. There's a page anyway.
736.
right here.
Page 35.
Yeah, that's it. So the Valley County Comprehensive Plan and subsequent amendments thereto, as officially adopted by Valley County, shall apply within the Donnelly impact area. As set forth in Idaho Code, a specific section describing the uses envisioned in the impact area will be included in the plan and depicted on an attached future land use map. I really like that, other than I wish it said Donnelly. I really like that because in talking to Todd Lakey, who was a supporter of the bill, he said something that really made sense to me. The county should be the controlling authority, and it's been really problematic in the past. This gives you control. So it says your Valley Comp Plan applies, and we're working with you to put our components in the comp plan. Doesn't that make sense? So I love that language. However, I hate, which people don't like the word hate, the language in the resolution that says the 2002 Donnelly Comp Plan is the current, that is old, it's outdated, it's junk. I would hope you could take the same language you're putting tonight, or today in your ordinance, that says Valley County Plan applies, and its future amendments, put that in here instead of the 2002, because for Donnelly, I'd rather have your plan applying over there than what was done in 2002. I'd personally rather have the 2023, but we're working toward that end. Does that make sense at all?
Does to me.
I can respond.
Okay, go ahead.
In the resolution, it says, whereas right now, currently, the 2002 Donnelly Comprehensive Plan is the current guiding document in the Donnelly impact area, and it is. But now we're going to change it to be the Valley County Comprehensive Plan.
We should put that, Madam Chair.
Well, those are just whereas.
Then that, oh, I'm sorry, you're right, let me read what it says. I hate it when I'm wrong.
I like it when I'm
That's the
right.
third time this year.
But you
Found out-
got me on 2 Cascades, so.
Well, I love the
Okay,
fact that you're
so we're even.
willing to admit that, Mark. Not a lot of us are.
I found out you were mistaken.
Would it be worthwhile for it to say, or future amendments to that plan? Or do you just, when you adopt that plan, then you redo the resolution? Madam Chair, I guess this is focused toward your staff, if that's okay.
Okay.
No, because every time we change it, we'll have to re-adopt it for those unincorporated areas.
Right, update the resolution. Well, we're good then, other than the typos. Appreciate working with you. And on the master transportation plan, land uses, that'll all be coming to you in the future.
Mark, I have some questions for you.
Always, yes, ma'am.
So, because we are trying to look at each one of the cities the same and use the same purpose. So if you look at your future land map, will you look at that map that's on page 39? Because it's easiest to see. My question for you is this, we're looking at, this is a 5-year conversation, 5-year window. And I know that some of these areas are prone for development in the next 5 years. I question some of it, if it's gonna be in the next 5 years. So that's my question for you. It's really that southern boundary. If you go down just a little bit more, Cinda, please. Clear down to where Eagle Lane is. I think the Dawn Drive stuff is probably applicable because there's so much already in that area that's being done, but what about going clear down to Barker Lane? Is that really a true southern boundary that you think there are individuals that are going to want to be annexed? Because no one's gonna force annex. That's not really the way the code's written now. It's who is going to want to annex in.
So, Madam Chair and members of the board, this is a crystal ball. The language doesn't say areas that shall be annexed in the next 5 years, because who can figure that out? The language that Mr. Lakey proposed that's in there, it says areas which are anticipated to be annexed. Or
Likely to be annexed. Likely is that word in there that I'm.
Is well, likely, that's correct. So it's a matter of opinion, and you get to choose. I've made my opinion based upon my review of the infrastructure and so forth. I would prefer that it be what's proposed. I personally really agreed with removing all that area basically east of Boulder Creek, because I think Boulder Creek creates a floodplain boundary that seems to make sense, but down to this way, it's anybody's guess. It could happen. We have developers that come in that are off the cuff on things and proposing things that are very surprising for a 256 population city. So I feel it's likely, but I wouldn't, I'd have to go
One
back to
reason
the
I would
city, and I don't know what your feeling is.
One reason I would support is because McGregor Township is south of you, and this would be an infill area between the current, or what's already proposed out there in the city. So that would be the reason that I would support this. I think the 5-year time window that we're looking at is questionable, but I do think that it is important that we plan together for the future of the city of Donley. And I do think that probably is likely, in the near future anyway, to be something that will be infill between what's existing and what the city of Donley is already in control of. So that
Madam
would
Chair,
be the
I
one
appreciate
reason
your
I
input.
could- I
You
could
know more
support
than I
that.
in that area.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Butler, while he's up.
And the mayor's here. Did
Okay.
you want to say anything, or?
Mayor Doris, we'd love to hear from you. No?
She's here if you have any further questions. After all the public comment, there might be some things that come up.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Is there anyone else? Or let's see. Next up is the testimony of the proponents. Anyone here in support of either the Cascade conversation or the Donley conversation? Clerk Miller, if you'll show none. Next up is uncommitted. Anyone just want to have a conversation with us about this? Clerk Miller, if you will show none. And then next up are opponents to this. Or anyone that would like to have a discussion that is not in favor of this. Miller, if you will show none. Anything else that, since the city of Donley is the one here, that we didn't hear anything? So, okay. And I will go ahead and close the public hearing for deliberations. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind.
Let's go ahead and work through our worksheets maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Cascade since they were the first one up.
Yep.
Okay, the things that we are looking at. So let's start with Cascade. Anticipated commercial and residential growth. Can you bring up that map, Cinda? I would agree with the city of Cascade. I think that there is a large footprint there that needs to be developed before they stretch too much further. But I do believe that anytime someone is contiguous and wants to be in that impact area, I think that's what we need to listen to. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, is people that are actually in the area. It makes continuity for the city, so I would be in favor of the Littles piece being included in that impact area, because that owner has given us the thought that that would be likely within the next 5 years. What's your guys' thoughts?
And the city tends to grow south anyhow. It's just, that's the way they've done, Kelly's.
The River
The
District.
new River District down there, Stinker and the Maritile's now a new place.
Well, I would think along that 55 corridor, the anticipated commercial growth out there could be
Yep.
definitely on that piece.
Slowly gonna go that direction. So I'm good with that.
Linda, do you want us to write on this, or are you taking our notes? How
Go
would you
ahead
like us to
and write your
document?
notes, and then I can accumulate them and come up with some findings of fact and conclusions of law. Or give them to legal to do.
Okay, geographic factors. I think along all of our cities, honestly, Highways 55's corridor is definitely a feature that's there. We are going to have growth along that 55 corridor for certain. So, are there any other geographic factors in this that you guys could see?
Mm-mm.
I mean, there's not a roadway that separates any of this to the south.
Highway flying through it, and everything's gonna be within that highway corridor.
I think so for certainly the commercial growth.
Yep.
Transportation infrastructure and systems, including connectivity. Again, the 55 corridor is the main transportation corridor along there.
One of their pieces is actually adjacent to the road going into River District.
Okay.
I'd like to see that.
Now I know which one you're talking about. Anybody else want to see it?
What are you talking about?
The road going into the River District also touches that piece. The little property.
Maps are not wanting to work for you today.
They're not.
Good broadband. Oh wait, we have good broadband. That's not the reason.
These are not my friends.
We don't even have broadband. We got here yet.
Broadband?
Yeah.
We have our own line coming in from
Well, when the map comes up, I'll show it to
the
you.
county. We have 1,000.
Haven't brought it north yet. have we?
Not for Cascade, but we have. I don't think we need to bring it up. Areas where municipal or public sewer and water are expected to be provided within 5 years. That is the one thing I don't know. So do you have any idea where the existing, sewer was expanded to the River District.
It's at
So,
the airport, and it's at the, little commercial industrial area they have.
the sewer is there, however, they don't have capacity until they upgrade it. Is that correct?
That would be part of their annexation agreement.
But they would have to upgrade it, so the annexation would actually help improve their sewer situation if that property was annexed, because there would be an expectation of upgrades.
Well, unless they consume all the potential capacity, but that's between the city and anybody
Yeah.
requesting annexation.
So the sewer is there.
Yeah, so
There
the
is a
sewer is there on
question.
3 sides.
Question about capacity, but that is between the two entities.
The same with water, you know, they're trying to drill another well and all that stuff, because
Other public service district boundaries? Are there any other public services down there? Let's see, the ambulance, district is over that, or the EMS. Is fire goes that far too? So they have fire, they have EMS,
hospital.
hospital. And that encompasses a much larger area than that, so that is all included in that. Is it very likely to be annexed to the city within the next 5 years? So the little request states that there may be something that's there. The rest of it, probably not. That speaks to the existing boundaries or shrinking to the current boundary of just the city limits.
So in this map, the city of Cascade says they would like to infill and grow within the current city boundaries. Where would that growth happen?
They have a lot of empty lots inside the city. They have stuff over here, they've got this huge area up here.
That's
That's all inside the city,
timbered.
yes.
I guess I
That's a
struggle
lot
a
of
little
ground.
bit with, is the timbered area the place for growth, or is it outside of their current boundaries?
Oh, it's inside the boundaries.
It's a timbered area inside their boundaries. I know that last year they tried to adopt an ordinance to address fire-wise mitigation for new developments, and the city council was not interested in that.
I would say the treat areas are really, if you look at where other developments are occurring in the county, there's a lot of it within the treat areas. There will be higher requirements, maybe, if the city adopts what the county is working toward for wildfire mitigation and management, but that is already within the city boundaries, so that will definitely be growth within the city.
Yeah, but I wouldn't foresee any public sewer or water. Those, well, water maybe, but.
At one time, they had a preliminary plat up here. And I believe the preliminary plat was approved, and then, they didn't, the big recession and nothing was followed through on. But it was being proposed with sewer,
Was it?
it was. And there's another development down in this area that they want to infill. So they have a lot of infill areas that they want to work on.
So if they did, say if a developer came in and said, I want to put development right there where your arrow is, or somewhere around there, because they're inside the city limits, does he have to have sewer and water?
No, that's up to the city of Cascade.
Okay, so that's all they're showing. They could do 2 or 3 acre, 5 acre lots
They could.
and do sewer and septic system and well.
So doesn't Central District Health drive that conversation somewhat? Because if you're within, was it 500 feet of a sewer, you have to,
I can't remember if it's 300 or 500.
there's a
Is it-
certain number of feet that you have to attach to the sewer.
I know there are subdivisions in this area that are not on
That's what I was gonna say, isn't there,
sewer.
that's part of the South Lake discussion where, they unannex themselves.
Well, that's further down, that's south of the
Okay.
Ponderosas. But there was a subdivision annexed into the city of Cascade because they wanted our water in the city. But sewer wasn't available, so they have city water and they're on septic systems.
Okay.
That's all city of Cascade.
All right.
And then within 2 miles, the existing city limits. Yes, it definitely is. Okay, now let's go to the worksheet on Donley. So if you look at the anticipated commercial growth, that definitely is on all of the roads where commercial growth is going to occur. I would say and residential, because I believe that there's already a subdivision approved out West Roseberry. And there's conversation being had on that northern stuff, to my understanding, so that definitely makes sense.
And this is the southern tip of Coho here. They actually have connectivity going through here, potential.
All the way to Coho?
Potential.
Potential.
Well, and also off 55, the developer that's up there, I mean, he's gonna back up to a lot of that on that also. That is approved.
This,
And that would be required to come within city limits in order to do the density that he wants to include sewer
Oh,
and
here?
water. So Cinda, if we look at that, I mean, we're familiar with the commercial and residential is planned, and should we just put and discussed? Since they have had discussions with the developers in those areas?
you could say based upon testimony from the Donley staff about discussions that they see.
Geographic factors, again, Highway 55 is a huge geographic factor. They're right along that corridor. You're gonna see a lot of growth along 55.
Commercial stuff, possibly.
And also the West Roseberry has access to Tamarack.
This is their proposed way they would like to see it developed. Potential land use map.
An interesting conversation to try and get that sewer district piece back into the city for development. That sewer district
Yeah.
around somewhere else, but
Let's see, in the pink areas, Chairman, are the mixed use?
There's the what? Cindy?
Mixed use?
Huh.
transportation infrastructure and systems, including connectivity. One of the things on Donley is the Mountain Transit has a lot of connectivity through there, and they're going out to Tamarack. So this is kind of a hub for the Mountain, what's it's called, Mountain Express, Green Line or something that
Green
goes
Line,
out
yeah.
to Tamarack. So there's public transportation that is in that area that connects all of this. And then also, I mean, you just have a lot of major connectors coming right through the middle of that community. Seems to me that it's gonna grow fairly quickly there too. Areas where municipal or public sewer and water are expected to be provided within 5 years. I don't know exactly where all of that is. That is one question we probably should be asking everybody, is where their infrastructure is. Public hearing is closed, so we'll we will, go off what we know. Pretty positive that all of this can be served, whether it's development cost or the developer's cost or not. I mean, they've done a great job with their long-term infrastructure planning in Donley. Cool.
What is that, North Lake Sewer and Water?
The other public service district boundaries, this again is in the EMS district. Fire. Is this McCall Donley as far as the hospital? Is in the hospital district for McCall?
Yes.
No, yes? Okay. Might verify that one.
Oh, what do you mean?
Miller?
My apologies for All Memorial Hospital Incorporate this area. Beef area that covers the Cascade.
Okay, so both of them are covered in there. Okay.
One strip of property.
Okay, that's fine, as
I
long
don't
as we
think
know
in
that.
this area, just right underneath it.
Because Cascade goes clear into Tamarack.
Correct.
Okay. Is it very likely to be annexed to the city within the next 5 years? Very likely is questionable for me. But I do believe that because there are parcels that I do believe will be annexed in, then it provides an annexation pathway for the other properties around it. You know, that's a conversation for 5 years. I mean, if those things don't happen in the next 5 years, then that's gonna be a conversation for the next 5 years. Cause this could shrink a bit more if things that are proposed don't actually happen. Good luck reading my handwriting when I get done with this. I'm trying to do it
It's
quickly.
always the
I do cursive, so she's gonna be real lucky to figure out mine.
I do cursive too.
And Callan does half and half.
And then within 2 miles, the existing city limits.
Yes.
Everything is, that's all within a mile, isn't it? Okay. Are there any other questions? Everyone ready to make a decision on this? Is there anything you need to table and have further conversations before we move forward? I think I've answered my own question on Donley. I was really questioning that southern, but because of the growth to the south, I think this is more infill than a lot of the other areas that could be in there, so.
Now, did Donnelly have, I know they were wanting the areas like, storage units, things like that addressed. Has that all been addressed in this,
That'll be addressed in the comprehensive plan and the ordinance
in
amendment.
the comprehensive plan? Okay, that's the only question I got.
Okay, do I hear a proposed motion for City of Cascade?
Yeah, this proposed motion you have written out here?
Right, but specify with the inclusion or of the little property or not.
Okay. I will make a motion on the City of Cascade.
Actually, can we table the vote? I'd like to think about this a little longer. Sure.
Just Cascade or Donnelly?
Both would be great. Till
No
next week.
problem with that. I think this is a very large conversation. We have until December to make this decision, and so think taking our time now, making sure that everything is included that we want and that we think this through is a proper thing to do. So I will table
Can
this
you table it
public
to a
hearing.
specific date so we don't have to renotice everybody?
Even till next week is fine.
Clerk Miller, do you know what our schedule is for next week? Do we have time for, I think, 15 minutes? You want longer than that?
See, what do we got? We got well, next week.
Do in the, early as 9:15 or then 10:30?
Schedule it for 10:30.
For
And
30
May
minutes?
for 30 minutes. All right. Thank you for everyone that came for this.
Okay.
Next Monday at 10:30.
May 5th.
Well,
Thank you for all the information. All right, next up is an action item. We have our facts and conclusions for the Tamarack Resort PUD 9801 amendment. SUB 25-004, Phase 3, 3.6 Aspen Townhomes. Is in our packet. Did anybody have any questions for staff on that one?
No, I don't.
Get my,
Thank you, Senator, for all that hard work on this stuff.
get my emails to work.
Okay, so this is Tamarack,
What in the world?
right there.
I think we must be having issues because I can't get my Outlook to do anything.
For motion?
Oh, no? I'm trying to get my Outlook to work. Do I hear a motion to approve the facts and conclusions
Oh,
of the Tamarack PUD?
wait.
I am
Oh, you're
abstaining.
absent, yeah. I'll make a motion to, accept the facts and conclusion of the Tamarack Resort PUD 98-1 amendment. And SUB 25-004, Phase 3.6 Aspen Townhomes, preliminary plat and Trillium parking lot relocation.
I will second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for driving over, Scott. Okay.
I can't look.
That's okay.
Nice day for a drive anyhow.
Okay, next up is not until 2 o'clock, and we will have an update from Rise Up to Thrive. So in case he gets here, we will continue. If you'd like to mute me my computer and throw it at him when it
And
gets
Chairman,
there.
we are unmuted.
Welcome back to our afternoon session. Next up is an update from Rise Up to Thrive. Casey Brock, welcome. I think you brought some friendly faces with you.
Yes. Thank you thank you for allowing us to come and share an update. We do have a PowerPoint to present.
You want me to present it? I emailed it to them, but if you'd like me.
Yeah, if we could present it, that would be great. At least the second slide, that is the video that we want to share with you guys. That would be amazing.
Since I have no computer, I can't see anything.
Well, even all the better. While we're waiting, again, just thank you for allowing us to come and share our information of the incredible work that we've been doing over the last year since we've been in front of you. I'm Casey Brock, the Executive Director and one of the founders of Rise Up to Thrive. And I'm excited to announce that Rise Up to Thrive is going on our third year of being a nonprofit as of June. So can't believe it's already been almost 3 years of Rise Up to Thrive, but here we are, and excited to be able to share our information with you. And next to me, I will introduce you to Katie Mead. She is our outreach volunteer coordinator. She does amazing work for us. So it's just the two of us, but we can't do the work that we do just between the two of us. And so we have a huge Rise Up to Thrive family involving volunteers, ambassadors, and just people that really care and are passionate about our work. And so Shane, obviously, is here. He is on our board. We are very happy that he is on the board and joining us today as well. So if you guys have questions for any of us, please stop us throughout the presentation, or we could answer questions at the end of the presentation. As you can see on the agenda, we have lots to share with you. We're going to just do bullet points, and if you want to ask those questions later on, please feel free.
Can you, a little short synopsis,
Absolutely.
tell us what Rise Up to Thrive does?
Absolutely, be happy to. So Rise Up to Thrive is the only victim service agency that is providing services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking here within Valley County. And so we've been doing work since October of 22, providing those different types of services, and we can dive into all the types of services that we are providing throughout the presentation through explaining what we are doing within, with those clients. But we are the only victim service here in Valley County providing services. And so if you want to start with a video, we are very excited to share this video. You might have seen it floating around on the social media or on our website or whatnot, but we were able to gather some key influencers throughout our community, and you'll see them in the video. It's a short video, and it's just talking, or just kind of gives you our why we're doing what we're doing.
Where's the video?
It was, yeah, that one. Well, maybe we won't be showing you the video today. I do have it on my computer, so if we have some time, I can definitely pull it up from my computer. But it's, again, a why we're doing what we're doing. Mr. Noggle, Mr. Caperi, Stephen Hull, and a couple survivors were a part of this video, and it just really impactful. It hits the punch. It's exactly what we were aiming for. It was our first video that we had produced, and so we are excited to share it among our fellow community members. So hopefully we'll have some time at the end to kind of go back to it. No worries. No worries. Thanks for trying.
If we don't have time, it's on all our social media, it's pinned, it's on our website.
Yes. It's 3 minutes.
Easy to find.
Quick, easy video. In the video, it also states, as Mr. Noggle states, our prosecutor, as you guys are very well aware of, he states that out of the 44 counties in Idaho, Valley County is ranked number 1 for personal, intimate partner violence and crimes against person, and 3rd for sexual offenses. So we don't want to be number 1 in those categories, or even number 3rd in those categories. And so that's what we're hoping for, is to get out into our communities and bring that awareness and, obviously be able to prosecute and hold our offenders accountable. The stats that you see up there, Rise Up to Thrive has worked with more than 350 community members. That is since we launched in October of 22. We've assisted 38 domestic violence sexual assault exams. That seems like a very low number maybe. However, if you take in consideration that those are actual physical assaults or sexual assaults, that there was injury, that they were needing hospital advocacy and hospital attention. So once you consider that, that's actually a very high number for our population. We unfortunately lost our SANE nurse, which is a sexual assault nurse, a year ago. She had moved out of the area. That position has not been filled. And so unfortunately, our sexual assault victims right now are currently having to go to Boise to get the forensic exam. So that number would be higher if she was still providing those services here locally. We've hosted 69 outreach events, and you'll see in further numbers that those numbers are climbing quite frequently because we have our Miss Katie here. And again, we think that, starting conversations are what it's all about, and necessary to bring more community members into our agency and seeking for those services. You want to talk on this one?
Sure.
Can
So,
you back up just a hair?
Sure.
Do you have any statistics or understanding or why rated number 3 in the state?
We're rated number 1.
No, number 3 is for sexual offenses.
Right, and number 1 for personal or for crimes against person and intimate partner violence.
So, do you know why Valley County is generating that?
I don't know the why on that. I don't know how they get the numbers, but we gathered those numbers from ISP. And so Mr. Noggle verified those numbers were true and accurate before he actually presented it in the video as well. And so it's startling. It's per capita, it's per 1,000 residents. So we are seeing more prosecution. We are seeing more people coming forward and wanting to prosecute or wanting to go forward with prosecution as well. I contribute that to Mr. Noggle and his office. But like I said, we don't want to be number 1 in those categories. Yeah. And so we're hoping to drop down.
Number 44.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the community thinking, well, is this really going to go anywhere if I step forward? Mm-hmm. And with Brian, it has definitely shown that,
It's
yes,
scary.
they will prosecute. And yeah,
He's changed.
very appreciated.
He's been awesome.
Appreciative
Yes.
of that, yes.
all right. So for current community outreach, we've been working super hard to get plugged into the community as much as possible. The more people that see us out in public, they're able to contact us and know we actually exist. So we've been working really hard to be out there. Currently, we have the fundraiser with Stinker. It was formerly called Pieces of Hope, and now it's Join the Fight Against Domestic Abuse. And they're selling tickets, and we're the benefactors of this fundraiser. So we're one of the few nonprofits in the state that are able to receive these funds. So it's very exciting. We also have Idaho Gives started today. So this whole week, we are working with the Idaho Gives platform to start a campaign to raise funds for our building. So it's a nationwide, statewide online giving campaign where people from all over can find us and give us money to support the funds to go towards our new building, or purchase of our building.
Where is
The
the new-
purchase of our building. So it's the building that we have. We're just working towards owning it.
And we'll talk a little bit further and show.
Great.
Yes. And then this week is Denim Day, April 30th. We have an event at the Culture Arts Center to just kind of raise awareness. Denim Day, if you didn't know, is observed worldwide, and the cause is that there is never an invitation to rape or cause. So we're able to get together and create this event where hopefully we can encourage people to come and just start meaningful conversations. So we're not only working on fundraising, but also just getting out there and talking to people. It's also really important.
Perfect. A little bit more with the Stinker station. We are very excited to be able to partner with them. It's been, Pieces of Hope has been around for several years, and we reached out to them last year and just said, how can we partner? How can we be a part of this? Especially when we heard the Cascade store was coming in, and the Donnelly store was already there, but we hadn't been a beneficiary the last couple of years that we've been providing the services. And through the Stinker initiative, those funds are supposed to be stayed here locally. And so we reached out. They were very excited. They came and did a tour at our space. They presented us with a $1,000 check at the grand opening at this Cascade store. So just to have that partnership with them has been incredible. And you could buy tickets to win the Blackstone, but then also you could just round up. So when you're checking out, they'll say, you want to round up to help fight the battle against domestic violence. And then if you round up the 50 cents, that comes to us. So it's, yeah, so it's been a great partnership with them. It runs through the end of the month. So if you find yourself at any of the Stinkers, please round up and think of Rise Up to Thrive when you're doing it. I think we're ready now. So this is our space, and this is what we are so proud of. We are located at the 404 South Main Street here in Cascade, so right next to Rio's. When we acquired this space in November of 23, there was a lot of renovations that need to be done, or just to make it more inviting for our community to come in. And so through the work of a lot of volunteers and a lot of in-kind donations, we were able to totally transform the space. And what you're looking at here is our office space. So the top two pictures are before. So the one on the left is the office space, or the space that is now known as our child, or the playroom. And so as you can see, it's total transformation. The other one is our inviting, our intake room is what we call it. So when you walk into our door, we're gonna sit down with you and find out what your needs are, find out what you're missing, how we can support you the best. And so those are just a couple of the visuals that what our space is already transformed into. And again, this is our office space, but with this office space, we have a shelter option for our clients as well, which is very exciting because we haven't had that for over 20 years, minus, the temporary shelters options that we've had to utilize in the past. So if you go on to the next slide, it will show the before and after pictures of our shelter, which is a crazy transformation. And this speaks so much to me because there is no better feeling that I get when I get to open that front door with a client and let them see what they're walking into and what they get to, a place that they feel safe and comfortable and welcomed. Who wants to go into shelter, right? No one wants to go into shelter, and so they're terrified. But when we get to open that space and they know that it's home for them for now, it's could not be a better feeling.
This is still a secured location.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do not advertise the location of shelter, but it is secure and confidential. So with that said, we have also been afforded the opportunity to purchase the space, which at a very good price. And so with a very generous donor that he's willing to donate $150,000 to the purchase of the building, we feel like it's very much attainable for us. And so with Idaho Gives, that is what Katie was referring to, is all those funds will be put into a restricted account to go towards that purchase of the building. And the owners of the building, they offered it to us at a price that they were previously selling it at when we acquired the building, so 2 years ago. So, which is very generous, at $275,000. So very attainable.
Is Hill in their name? Is that?
Yes, but they have been very, very accommodating and reasonable,
Yeah, I
and
know.
really helped us get to where we're at and provide the services that we have been able to. And you'll see other improvements. We're going to be getting windows put in here shortly. We staying outside of the building. We have a little bit of work to do at the higher parts of the building, but that will be done this summer as well. So we're constantly.
Shane's good at that.
Pardon me?
Shane's good at that.
Yeah, he has. He's a huge help. He's a huge help for sure.
Put him on a line.
Okay, go ahead.
And Rio's gives you all the pizza you want.
Well, that's the hardest part is working next to Rio's. I open up the doors now and I smell it and it tries to drag me in.
Yes. So, here are more of our upcoming events. We're trying to be out in the community as much as possible, as I said before. We recently had the Bowls of Hope. That was the beginning of this month. That was a huge success. We had more people come than last year, which is big, and a ton of donors from around town. They were so generous with their soups and desserts and their spaces. It was
And their
awesome.
bowls.
And their bowls. Yes, it was awesome. We raised $5,500 around, about. And it was awesome. We also had a really powerful art display. So that was new, super cool. And then we talked about the Pieces of Hope and Idaho Gives. With the stalking and strangulation training, we had that last year. I attended it. It was very educational. There's a lot of information for somebody that doesn't work in the crime area, but it's geared towards people who are working, with that sort of thing. So first responders, even like hospital staff, anybody really that we can get to come. It's very educational. It's really eye-opening, and it's something that they mentioned in the training isn't talked about enough. I can't speak highly enough of these trainers. They're awesome. And then the Rise Up to Wind Down is May 14th, and that's our second annual Wind Down event. It was a big success last year, and we're hoping it'll be a big success this year.
Is that the one you did out at the lake?
I think you're referring to the Fighting for Change event up at Lakefront.
Yeah.
Yep, so the Rise Up to Wind Down is at the Glass House up in McCall.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're just expanding. So everybody, all communities can join us.
My wife, I think, bought 5 baskets.
I think she was very successful at that event.
What are you thinking?
Yeah,
And that thing. That's on the back wall there.
Oh, yes, yes. Very good.
well, we're really looking forward to the Wind Down. It was successful last year. It's a great opportunity to bring awareness to the community. We always have a speaker come and just share with everybody our mission and what's going on with us. So I'd encourage you to look into going. It's super fun.
We have some flyers to share with you as
Yes.
well on that. One quick thing about the strangulation and stalking training. This is our way of giving back to the first responders. We want to educate them and give them the tools that they need if they're working with victims of stalking or strangulation. The title of this training is could be called or should be called something different because it's not just for law enforcement or people that are investigating these cases. It's for anybody that has interest in or does work with victims of these sort of crimes. And so it's a full day event. It's free to attend. Snacks and treats will be offered, and it's post certified. So they get the post credits that they need, annually. So if you know of anybody that might benefit from this training, please pass it on. We were trying to facilitate it a little bit earlier up in McCall a couple months ago. We just did not get the turnout that we were expecting, so we postponed it. And so hopefully on May 8th, we're going to have a full house. If not, we're still going to do it because it's necessary. It needs to be done.
I would think it's not only victims. I mean, we end up dealing in very emotional situations sometimes. I mean, if you work in an emotional environment, that'd be great training to have. So you don't necessarily have to be a victim yet, but you can protect yourself so that you aren't in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we invite you if you would like to join us. Like Katie mentioned, the dynamic speakers.
Yeah.
Incredible. So we are super proud of the students in our community. They've really stepped up to help our cause and to present on our cause. We had a young lady do Rise Up to Thrive as her senior project, and she was able to speak to her class about domestic violence and assault and dating safety. So that was really cool working with her and getting her community service. Will Huckabee wrote a poem, really cute. And then all the students at the McCall School that helped create the bowls. It's just been awesome to see their involvement, and we're hoping to get plugged in more with the schools this coming year and to provide some educational materials and just preparing them, plugging them in.
My 10-year-old granddaughter is learning how to make ceramic bowls just like that,
Very fun.
and she's very good at it. I'm gonna have to tell her to start now.
Yes,
Start
please.
contributing.
Yes, I'm serious, because Rachel Huckabee donated 170 bowls to us for the Cascade event. The high school donated 107 bowls from their school, and then, I said McCall, right? McCall High School, yes. And so we had leftover bowls from last year, so we sold over 300 bowls. So we are wiped out. We have no bowls. So we need to come up with some other avenues of getting bowls donated. So, but yeah, so that's, Bowls of Hope was a huge success last year, or this year. So let's get into stats. I know this is kind of what you commissioners are needing and looking for. Our fiscal year begins October 1st to September 31st. And so these stats are from last fiscal year. So we provided services to 194 community members, hosted and attended 39 education and awareness events, and invested $21,861 in direct client services. That doesn't include case management or advocacy. That is literally us providing a direct service to them, whether it be counseling, relocation, bus ticket, airline, whatever it is. That is the funds that we spent last fiscal year. We provided over 200 bed nights. So that's 200 nights that someone was able to sleep safely and not worry about being abused. And so again, our shelter, I don't think I mentioned this, our shelter only opened March of last year, so March of 24. So we provided over 200 bed nights between shelter and other options in last fiscal year. And then we had over 1,000 volunteer hours, which is incredible. And like I said, you guys, we have the best team. Our Rise Up to Thrive team is incredible. They're willing to get up and do what they need, and they're passionate about the work that they're doing as they're doing it. So 1,000 volunteer hours is very significant in our small community and the small team small but mighty team that we have. And so we're always looking for volunteers. If you know of somebody that's interested in doing any volunteer work, she's the person to contact. And this is us now. So current year to date. As of October 1st is when our fiscal year started. These are our amazing board members. So we have Amanda Sprague, Brian Hines, Val Davis, Dana Hines, Rebecca Hurd, Janelle Hellick, and Shane Henson. So we are up to 7 board members, and they're all very active board members, and give a lot of thought and input in the work that we're doing. Provided services to 82 clients since October 1st. We've provided 85 safe bed nights since October 1st, and we've clocked 150 volunteer hours since October 1st. I have to say that Katie was on maternity leave for 2 of those months, so our volunteer program kind of was not tracked as much as it could have been, or we weren't needing volunteers as much. So that volunteer hours could have been much higher, but we're very impressed with those. And again, that doesn't include any of the volunteer hours this month alone, which we've had a lot because of the month that we're in.
Well, Katie, congratulations.
And so this is our vision. This is where we want to go. This is the direction that our board has decided, okay, this is what our community is telling us that they need, that might be missing now. We're excited to be sharing with you that we've created a safe place for a support group. We partnered with Bar W Ranch to help facilitate this support group. It's going to be starting May 14th. It will be weekly on Wednesdays. We have not had a support group option for domestic violence, sexual assault survivors for over 20 years in our community. And so it's always been just online. And so super excited to be offering this for the first time. If you know of somebody that could use that extra support, we will be also making Zoom options available. So it is through a lunch hour, but if they're unable to make it to the location that we disclose to them, we are able to provide a Zoom link for them. So encourage anybody to come, no judgment, it's no fee. They don't have to talk at all. If they don't want to talk, they might just want to listen, to know that there's others out there that might be experiencing the same thing. Another big drive for me is a retreat. I'm hoping to host a Thrive retreat. It will be in October for Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. It will be a low or no cost retreat for victims or survivors of domestic and sexual violence. So we are going to be inviting individuals in. It's going to be an intimate group, 30 at the max. It will be an overnight stay. They will get tools that they could utilize at the retreat and take home with them, and just to help that healing process and help them kind of recognize what they need to do to actually be able to be a more productive person after abuse. We're building our advocate team. Super excited about this. We currently have a position available. So currently we're advertising for a 32-hour advocate, which is going to be huge help for me. And so hopefully we'll be making a decision here in the very, very near future on that.
What kind of skills do they need, Casey?
You know, we're not requiring any experience because every situation is so unique. We will provide the training and everything, but honestly, somebody that's going to be passionate about the work. And so we could get you more information on that position if you have anybody in mind. And then obviously the purchasing of our building, we've already shared that. That's our vision. That's our safe space, our brave space that we are referring to now. And we refer to it as a gift to our community. And so hopefully by May of next year, we will be purchasing our building. And I would remind you that when we originally started this in 22, it was our 5-year goal that we would have a shelter option for our community, and we were able to accomplish it in a 1.5 years. So that's why this space is so near and dear to our hearts, and why we feel like it's a perfect space for us. And we would encourage you guys to set up a time to come and do a tour. We are proud of this space, and we are welcoming anybody, to come in and look at it too. So educating in the schools, like Katie mentioned, we're so excited that the young people are talking about this, and they're passionate about it just as we are. We are hoping to build a program within the schools that it's peer-led, that the students get to lead the education, because we know that it might go over better rather than having this old person talking about healthy relationships and so forth. So we're hoping to have a peer-led group or peer-led program and mentoring in the schools as well. So that is in the near future, like I said, and Katie said, we're so excited that the students came to us. It wasn't us reaching out. They came to us and said, how can we help? We want to do this. And with Allie Bailey, the senior that did the senior project, it wasn't just a one-time presentation. She worked all year to present at football games, at the volleyball games, and have information booths, and came and volunteered with us numerous times. And so it was a lot of effort and thought that she put into her project. And so that's what we're hoping for in the future, other students that are really excited about what we're doing as well.
We're out of time, so I'll give you 5 more, but
Okay, thank you. I think that could wrap it up, unless you have, I wanted to go through the budget and all that fun stuff. But you guys have the PowerPoint. I believe it was emailed to you, so you guys could reference that. It has a breakdown of all the client services that we've already provided. This is just from October 1st. you could see that we've generated $92,000 since October 1st, but we've also provided $19,000 worth of client services since October 1st. So I really encourage you guys to please look at the budget, because $20,000 doesn't last very long. And we are very, very thankful that you guys offered us or gave us the $20,000 last year. We would ask kindly for an additional $20,000 for your next budget when you're considering what your budget is going to look like for next year. And I know that you had mentioned that procedure might be changing. I haven't seen anything come up, so if we need to do something different, we'd be happy to come and present or write a grant or whatever we need to potentially receive those funds again for next year.
We are gonna change it a bit, and it will be grant-based.
Okay.
So we'll just need to know what you're gonna use those funds for.
Okay.
And we'll set aside a portion of the budget when we have a little bit more information on, you know, what staff here is gonna need about what that pool of funds will look like, so.
Perfect. Please let us know or when we should be expecting to see something coming out
Okay.
on that, because we would definitely be interested in applying for those funds.
Let everybody know.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, you guys have done a lot of good hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So exciting, and
We appreciate your guys'
such a-
support.
Such a need for our communities, so.
Thank you.
Your computer died?
Weird hiccup.
Hmm.
Scott, it's good to see you. Time's going fast. This is our quarter report from our county coroner, Scott Carver. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. I think y'all got a copy of this. I emailed it over.
Did.
Be in our
Mine just
packet.
went out the door, but
Okay. So my quarterly report, just real similar to the last time that I submitted a report. I changed a couple of things, but this quarter we only had 6 deaths instead of 9.
6 too many still?
6 is still a lot, seems like. At least these were more labor intensive. This quarter was. So the total cases reported for the quarter was 6. There were 6. They were all residents. We didn't have any out of town resident deaths this year, or out of county residents deaths this quarter. Did 6 full investigations. Total reported for the fiscal year is 15, and I made 6 death notifications as well. You can read through there. I don't need to read through all this for you, but we did not do any autopsies. We did 1 toxicology in March, test, and 2 in March, and we transported all 6 of the deceased to our facility, and did not release any as a non-judicial release, or NJR. Manners of death were
Scott, the mountains in the backcountry, were those snowmobile related?
they were. Yep,
Okay.
they both were. Yep, they sure were. There was 4 natural deaths in the quarter. 1 accident, which was the snowmobile accident, and then 1 suicide here in Cascade.
Are suicides down, Scott?
Yeah, they're down.
Good.
They are down. But what's saddening is the last 4 or 5, I think, suicide cases, they're younger. Getting younger and younger. So,
Sad.
but they are down. Overall numbers are down, and I think that's great. We're constantly trying to get the word out, call for help, ask for help, and letting families know, especially the students that are still in school, their parents to know, look for the signs, because they're not necessarily seeing some of those. I just had an interesting, mentioning suicide, I just had an interesting conversation yesterday, Saturday, with one of the teachers over at the middle school in McCall. And I got a call this morning from her, and she told me that they were sending a youngster to the hospital this morning for some mental issues. Of course, they wouldn't go into great detail, and I didn't really want them, but she said, thanks for letting them know, look for those signs, which are really sad.
Do you do training with teachers and whatnot,
There's no specific training that I do.
right?
There are some programs that Central Health District, we work with them, and the school districts, especially if there's a student that dies during the school year,
Mhm.
whether it's suicide, accident. We give them a lot of support and resources that we have. Or most of it is handouts and brochures, but I have also gone and talked to both schools here and in McCall.
Yeah, having
We're trying to get something.
teachers to have the knowledge,
Yeah.
to look for those signs, and parents too, but
Yeah.
for sure, but,
I
It's
think
something
the
we want to
teachers
talk
get
about.
Quite a bit of training.
oh, I would hope
It's something
so.
that we just, our society, we don't want to talk about,
It's real.
but it's real. And unfortunately, I see them too late sometimes. So we're working with Central District Health and some of the programs through other resources that they have as well. So we had 4 natural deaths, 1 accident, 1 suicide. Alcohol was involved in 5 of the deaths. One of the deaths, this gentleman had a blood alcohol level of 0.2 something, 0.29, which was really, really high for him. He was a youngster too. It was the suicide. And then most of the others, the female death was just cardiac related. One was cardiac related for the male as well. And then the blunt force trauma injury was the snowmobile accident. 21 to 30 age group, there was the one that was a suicide. So we're seeing them in that young age. That's a little bit further down on that sheet. 2 were,
Go down a little bit.
yeah, there you go. And 2 were 51 through 60 and 61 to 70 and 71 through 80. There was 2 and 2 and 1 there. And then
That is
just the
way too young.
yeah,
Isn't it,
to,
Neil?
getting alcohol related. Most of them, they were all over the legal limit, but their deaths were related to chronic alcoholism. Both of the 53 and 51. Chronic, which just sad. And then, of course, it leads into other health issues, and then they have other problems, morbidities that happen there. The vital stats there, we do keep track of the education and gender and race and the ages. It's interesting to talk with the Central District Health especially, and the CDC. We get a lot of information back and forth, and then the National Institutes of Health. They like a lot of these statistics. So we can, where we know we can funnel some of the resources that they have. There's certain grant-based ones, like for suicide, for instance, is one, especially youth suicides. There's Veterans Administration with their grant they've got for veteran suicides. So it's helpful for us to get some of those things from them, and that's how we do it.
Yeah,
And even the marital
5
status all the way
males,
down.
1 female.
2 were divorced. One was the young man was never married, but 3 were married and 2 were divorced. Then just a little bit more of the administrative things on the nobody else sees but me. We did have 11 deaths that occurred in our county, 5 that were not part of our county, or residents of our county that died using the funeral home outside of our county. So I had to still authorize the cremation. And then 3 of the 6 death certificates I had to sign determine cause and manner of death. And then there were 6 FOIA requests. I'm still getting requests for things that happened with the prior coroner.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there was one plane crash that happened in 2013, and some attorney's firm in Boise on all the records, and unfortunately, we don't have any records.
Do you do cremation up here?
No, we don't. My crematory is installed. I'm just waiting for the city of McCall to decide what they're going to do with the impact area, whether they're going to approve my CUP or not. They say my last meeting with Brian before Brian left was I had to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, so I did. They sent it back to the city. Now the new planner, I forgot her name. Anyway, Meredith. She says, well, doesn't know what we're going to do until after May 3rd. Because we have 2 plans now to present to the county commissioners, and like I just need it done. I just need it no either way. So
Well, they'll give you a permit to go ahead.
yeah, I can't get the state permit without the okay.
Right. Okay.
So, but it's sitting there. I'm waiting for that to happen.
May
And-
5th, you're not gonna get anything on May 5th.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so just so you understand, it's gonna take
I'm-
longer than that.
I'm figuring hopefully this year, maybe next year, but
It'll be
been-
this year.
oh, it will be this year. Okay, it's been sitting there for a year and a half. So
You're kidding me.
And it shouldn't
Okay.
involve us. Are you in the city limits?
nope, right in the impact.
Oh, that's
I'm right in the corner.
That's why.
Cities across the street, both sides, but
Okay.
right in the impact area. Just one thing, I sent over to Doug a request, and I don't remember if you got it, but I
I'm about a week behind.
I was going to say don't rush, because
I was out of the office.
one of the with this, I was asked to serve on a subcommittee for the Idaho Judicial ICDC. I can't remember what it's. That's part of the judicial oversight. 7 corners were in the state, and I was chosen for basically the middle part west, well, both sides, I guess. One of the things that they're looking at it, and the governor had asked the JLOC committee and the other committee to come up with, especially for coroners. First he asked why we're not part of that other committee, and it was not criminal defense, but I forgot what it was called. I have it, I think, but.
You only have a couple minutes left, so.
So part of that meeting was to find out. We went through all of the codes and statutes that dealt with coroners in Idaho. One of them states that we're required to give all of our records, copies of our records, to the clerk. I haven't done that. I can. I mean, the statute says we're supposed to do that. I've talked to other coroners. 40 out of the 44 have said no, they don't give them. 2 says I don't even know what records they would want, and 2 said buzz off. So they don't have anything to do with us association. So I asked our clerk to let me know how he wants those records, if he wants them or not. And so that's part of what we're doing, and there's going to be a lot more questions.
Is it by statute that you're supposed
It
to?
is by statute that we're
Oh.
reply. And then, of course, anything criminal or maybe criminal, we have to provide the sheriff and prosecuting attorney, which we do that automatically.
Mhm.
Every homicide case, every sexual abuse case we do. So
More thing Doug gets to do.
I didn't want to give put more on Doug's plate, but asking on behalf of the subcommittee. So, and we're working on statutes. We're still plugging forward on changing lots of stuff, getting it updated, and
Cool.
guess in the end, that's it.
All right, thank you for
Talk to
the
you
update.
about soon with budget. I think that's the next step. Should be easy.
Appreciate it, Scott.
All right,
Hey.
thank you for your information. So it's
You
good to
bet.
hear from you, what's happening in our
Thank you.
county.
I want to see all zeros when you come in sometime.
Because then we know we didn't die that quarter. All right.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, we were contacted by Ms. Bartlett this morning that she was unable to attend, or she was not going to attend because the individuals that she was working with on creating, developing a daycare had withdrawn their names and were no longer interested. However, on Friday, Miss Stephanie Manning came into our office, to the clerk's office, and I advised she wanted to get on the agenda. After speaking with her, I said, well, Miss Bartlett is coming to present, and she said she was interacting with Miss Bartlett. So I thought she was one of the individuals that Miss Bartlett was referring to. Make a long story short, I would respectfully ask that Miss Manning be able to present to the commissioners during Miss Bartlett's time. She has an interest in potentially developing and utilizing the community center for a childcare. So again, she did provide me with a handout that I'd like to present to the commissioners. But I would ask
I
that
think
you
that'd be
allow her to
fine,
present.
As long
Okay.
as the conversation is the same, I don't think that's a problem with disclosure at all. Have we heard from the church? We've heard they've bought something else, but I haven't heard from them on.
I have not personally.
Doesn't ask if we're hot. Did you notice that?
I'm always warm, so.
Oh, okay, well then I won't harass him. Neil and I fight over the temperature. It's an ongoing thing.
I'm sweating and she's got a coat on.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you.
Go ahead and give us a presentation. Since we haven't had a chance to read this, then we'll listen to what your thoughts are.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I am friends with Paula Bartlett, and so I don't know what her thoughts were, though I haven't spoken with her in maybe a week or two. But I am very interested in leasing the community center for an early learning education center. I spoke with Sandy one day, who leases the senior center, and she voiced some interest in collaborating on some activities and maybe having like a multi-generational focus. My background is in teaching preschool. I'm from my family, and I moved down here last June from Alaska. So my most recent teaching position was in a remote village. And I had my high schooler read this over for me, and she said it was too much of a focus on special education, like early intervention. But that is, it was dismaying in Alaska to find out that there were no services available to the kids who were identified with the need. So I guess to try to clarify, my interest is in primarily a childcare facility, a state licensed childcare facility, but every childcare provider, I think, has the ability to identify a need for special services, and maybe in the future, down the road, I would maybe, if there was a need in Cascade, I would like to gear it towards more of a special services with a speech and occupational and physical therapist. But for now, I like, especially during the summer, I would like to just provide state licensed daycare to the residents of Cascade. I have a 6-year-old, and childcare has always been a great need for me. And so I'm just trying to complete all the state requirements right now. So I've gotten the pediatric first aid and CPR completed, and I'm just on the state website completing all the trainings for licensure.
Have you ran a business of daycare before or been involved in one? Or
I've had an in-home childcare in Alaska for probably 15 years, but it wasn't a licensed facility.
Right.
So, but I have been employed by the school district up there as a preschool teacher, and I have 375 hours clinical internship through Emerson for early intervention. So wasn't able to finish the master's degree before we moved down here, and so my qualification is a speech aid. So that is through ASHA, the American Speech and Hearing Association.
so will this be kind of like a not only daycare but a preschool?
Yes.
Have you talked to the, his name just went off the top of my head. The Economic Development Council actually has an early learning specialist
Oh,
that is working with the Early Learning Initiative in Idaho.
okay.
And he's based right here, Trace McKellop. He's based right here in the area. So I will give your information to him
Thank
and
you.
he will reach out
Okay.
and kind of go over some of the things that the Economic Development Council can do to help you.
Awesome.
Yeah, they've got some great resources right now.
Okay.
So yeah, we have not received any information from the existing tenant that's in that building. So I don't know what timing is. We will probably need to reach out and find out what their timing is. They've purchased a building and I don't know when they're taking over their new building.
Okay.
But I mean, the space is definitely going to be available. Love to see a daycare in there. We've talked about this multiple times.
Okay.
So yes.
I know
So
what I've
thank
heard.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for your information. You know, there's a lot of things we'll have to look at as far as the pricing and what the rent will be on that. We're working on some things with the senior center, or the seniors right now in the other section of it.
Okay.
So it'll be a great conversation to combine these at the same time, so.
Okay.
We will be back in communication with you. Yeah, we've got all your stuff here.
I think I put my contact information on my resume.
How many children are you capable of putting?
By myself, the state requirements are 5, and then for childcare, and then for preschool, if I had 1 employee, it's 21. And I've talked to one person, Diane Beasley, and she might be interested in helping. And then I'll contact Paula again too, because I don't know if it was herself or if she's interested in collaborating too. But with 21 kids, I would think 2 employees would be better. I would think 1 infant at a time, and I'd have to look at the state requirements again, but I think that is 1 infant is allowed.
Yeah, I remember didn't the state just relax, seemed like the state just passed a law that relaxed
Well, I'm not
the
one to take on.
requirements per kid.
Okay. That's what my daughter said too, reading over it. She was like, Mom, what are you? And I'm like, I'm not one to take on too much. So I don't.
That's
believe in-
smart.
Yeah, I want each child to receive individual care. Like I said, it was hard to find that from my own. And I guess the people I appreciated were my child's preschool teacher. And she was the one that identified a need for speech therapy for my daughter, who's now 15. But yeah, I definitely want the children to have reliable, safe, and focused care with like an academic focus, I guess.
Hard to balance the numbers, so you have enough income to pay your expenses that are associated with it. Daycare
Yeah.
work, but
Yeah, I looked at one property for rent, a Frost property on Roseberry Road, and Marta was really kind in helping me crunch a few numbers. But when it comes, I'd be traveling and I'd much rather serve a need here in Cascade than do like a drop-in for tourists. So I guess, but
We
it looked
appreciate
like
that.
she was really good with on the business side of things, and it looked like it would be financially feasible, probably with one employee and like 16 kids. That's what I had up in Alaska. I had one aide and 16 kids. We were able to operate with a schedule.
All right, well, let us get back to you. I'll reach out to the church and see what their goals are and their thoughts are on timing and, I'm honestly gonna have to run this by the prosecutor. I don't know if we have to put this out, that this space is available.
Oh, okay.
That would be, the next thing is governmental agency. We're dealing with taxpayer funds.
Yeah.
So we
okay.
always have to make sure that we do everything correct. And on a leasing agreement like this, I don't know if we have to offer it to the greater public. I will get back to you.
Alrighty.
Some research work.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
Stephanie. Thanks for
Thank you so
coming
much.
in.
You.
Or no, it's Tiffany. No, Stephanie. How did I get Tiffany? All right, got a few minutes until 1. Is he coming in person, or do you know?
Chairman, I don't know.
I would bet he'll be here in person. Just went to reach up to type and I don't have anything to type into. Oh, and I got a solar lantern.
There you go. Oh, and you did, Madam Chairman, my apologies.
No worries. Oh, up next is our emergency management update. Juan Bonilla. Welcome, Chief. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Getting used to Doug being right there. That's sort of weird.
It works really well. We can see him. He can see us.
Okay. So we'll start with grants. So the SHSP funding, the equipment grant that we get, supplemental equipment grant, that's 100%. For 2024, that money has yet to be released. So we are currently holding off on the communications equipment, hoping that within the next few weeks or months that does get released for 2024 so that we can spend that funding.
2024, not 2025?
Yeah, it's 2024 one. We haven't done the 2025 one. They're always a year behind, so. The 2025 EMPG funding has been released and is in the state fund for the emergency manager position for this year. I did ask, my question was, are we going to, there's going to be continued funding for the SHSP and the EMPG after this year? They couldn't answer, but more than likely it will not be funded. So then my next question was, will the state fund EMPG at least? They said more than likely not. So, my thing would be, because that is, you use 14,000 some odd dollars of that EMPG fund that gets reimbursed. Since it is budget time, I would ask that you as the board and the clerk take into advisement that more than likely it won't be budgeted after September 30th, but we'll still need to maintain an emergency manager position. So we should probably figure out within the budget processes this right now to budget that additional 14 some odd thousand dollars that we would get reimbursed.
What I'm hearing you say is right now, the payment you're getting right now is funded
For this year till
state.
September 30th.
just through September 30th.
They cannot guarantee and will not guarantee that it will that program will continue.
How many emergency managers throughout the state?
There's one per county.
One per county. So the state is saying they're not gonna fund emergency management? That is nuts.
Well, it's because they don't fund it now.
Right, feds do.
So a part of the EMPG funding, they get a huge supplemental grant, or where they get a huge grant, and then we're the supplemental recipients of that grant to help the counties have their own emergency management, but they also pay employees at the state level through the EMPG as well. So they would be funding their employees, but not funding any county employees.
So this is talking to our legislators then, to make sure that there is something put into the budget to fund emergency management, emergency managers moving forward. If it's affecting all 44 counties, somebody better be thinking about this.
Yeah, so it's,
So
I don't know,
They've not done
it's
it.
like
Ever.
The state.
It's like $1.5 million or something like that for all of the emergency managers.
1.5 million?
Something like that is what they pay.
I would think that the state's got that in their
So,
bucket
but what
I would
I've been
think so.
told is more than likely their state's not going to fund that. So I would ask that the commissioners figure out a mechanism just in case they're not funding it, so we don't lose any steps or lose that position. Funding mechanism. That's all I'm asking. It's a decision you have to make. I'm sure I won't be the only one who's coming to you during budget cycle that says, do you want to fund this program or not? Because it's no longer being funded by the federal government.
Now, when you say funded by the federal government, you talking about with grants?
Yeah.
Yeah, grants. Yeah, I can't rely on that anyhow.
I just,
We have.
I
for
don't
t-
have the
we for
confidence in
too
the
long.
administration that they will do the right thing and fund emergency management or first response in any
So we need
source.
to come back and ask our legislators to put a line item budget I mean, they had a lot of extra funds this year. That should be a top priority to fund.
Just wrote that down.
That's just what I got from the Idaho Office of Emergency Management and the Adjunct General. The other is the current 2000, I can't remember what year now, but the Four Corners fire, the hazard mitigation grant, is still maybe.
Is that for the culverts?
It's for the road work and the cistern upkeep and the oversized culverts. But it's been, I don't know, almost 3 years now, so we're still eligible for it in the current all hazard mitigation plan. So they haven't awarded anything out of that grant since the inauguration, but they haven't told them we're not getting awarded. So we're sort of in a hold or review. They're in a review of that grant. So talking to IOEM, Susan Coverly, who's in charge of that portion of the granting, the hazard mitigation granting, she just said, I'm still hopeful that you're going to get that grant. So, as you guys know, the BRIC grants are no longer in existence. So if you weren't awarded or have the funding mechanism in place already in your accounts, those will not be awarded. So our BRIC grant for the rider to do our all hazard mitigation plan is not going to be awarded. There is no grant for that. So it's decision time. According to Susan Coverly, who is the hazard mitigation specialist, the all hazards mitigation grant for projects for this year and for the first phase of the Four Corners Fire HMPG grant is covered. But in the second phase, the actual meat and potatoes of the most cost of that grant would not be covered if we allow our all hazard mitigation grant, all mitigation plan to expire. So she said that it is, in order to get funding for an after incident issue for mitigation, we have to have a all hazard mitigation plan approved and in place with those particular projects that we have on there. So you as the commissioning board need to decide, since it's up in October, do you spend the $62,400 and some $1,000 to hire a writer to write a grant that you will not be reimbursed for? So that we have one for the next.
Won't be reimbursed for.
You won't be. For the next, so you'll have a all hazard mitigation plan for the next 5 years, in the hopes that we would get hazard mitigation grant money after an incident.
That we still haven't gotten for 3 years.
So you have to decide, do you want the plan or do you not want the plan? Now, Owyhee County has not done a plan in 10 years because they've never needed to ask for funding. So there is counties who don't do them. We've done this, so we've done them every time they've been requested. We did have a few years where it didn't get updated for a while, but they let us extend. Up until this last 5 years, we didn't utilize any funding. We had very little grant money coming through the all hazard mitigation plan. It wasn't until after it was revised for this last 5 years that we were using it for a huge amount of BRIC funding and then a couple of other hazard mitigation grants that we got. That took over the 5 years to get. But one of them was the disaster over here for the road closure. So,
Stibnite, so
Stibnite.
that was worth $900,000.
but it took
$800,000,
forever to get that money. So, but
but we still got it.
yeah.
mean,
So
you know,
so you as a commissioning board need to decide: do you want to spend the funding? I got the project scope of work ready to go. All I gotta do is give it to the prosecuting officer to review the contract with someone who's interested, which is BSU, and go through the process. I've gone through what the process is, so we send it to them, they review it, they bring it here, they do a presentation, and you deny or approve that.
It costs us $62,000.
62 some odd $1,000.
Just, and they've already got it written, it's just a
Not
license.
already written. That's what it is to have somebody write.
It's
it.
review, revisions,
For
and
the
then the
people
new
right.
protocols that need to be added in to the Hall management plan. So the flooding, there's always update what you need for flooding and any other events, and then you have to update that. And then there's other things that the FEMA needs to see that we've updated. They do all that.
It's gonna cost $62,000 just to update it. I mean,
Update, revise, and have it
Already
submitted
written.
to the state.
And then it's good for,
that's just the BSU price. Have we bid it out to see if there's anyone else that do it?
No, that was what we asked for in the grant to do it. That's what the grant funding was. That was the cost.
it's only good for a year, or it's good for
5 years.
good for 5 years. If we need it.
If you need it, if we have an incident where we would get funding. So let's go off of this last year's incident.
Yep.
Let's do that. We did not get any federal management grant, fire management grants because I didn't ask for it. We didn't need it. We didn't spend any money on the entire landscape on fire. So there was no HMP for this year's fire to ask for. Because the way it works is like with Four Corners, we did ask for one. Blaine County asked for one. So they take that funding and they come up with their algorithm of how much is available. It's like 1.4 something that was available to ask for. And those two counties get to ask for it first. Then if they get awarded that 1.5, which they haven't, if we don't use it between Blaine County and us, then they'll take the reserve and then ask any other counties, do we have anything that meets this criteria to utilize that funding that they got out of the 1.5? So
I
if no
think-
one asks for FMAGs there for that year, there's no HMP to be gathered.
And we're not talking an incident, I mean, like right now, if it warmed up real quick, a lot of that water came down and washed through those fire areas and took it right off into the lake. We're not talking an incident like that.
Well, what we're talking right now for the Four Corners is mitigation so that we can circumvent having that type of disaster.
But Washington
So we're
was
trying to
not
mitigate for that right now.
We would go after a grant to mitigate that.
That we went after the grant to mitigate right now for that. So do the oversized culvert, clear cisterns, and then repair work in behind the homes to help channel that water to our new systems.
Right.
That's the grant.
So what the plan does is it creates the mechanism to ask for reimbursement. Without that plan, we can't ask for reimbursement.
You can't ask for that mitigation dollars for disaster
Unless
recovery
you have,
after the event.
first have to have it in your hand.
We have to have
Right,
that
that's
listed
fine.
as a potential projects.
I'm following you.
So I think it would be helpful for everybody to actually see the plan and see the listing of the mitigating tools that are actually called out in it. Because there's quite a few,
See the all hazards plan or?
yeah, the one that's currently in place, just to see how it functions. I mean, I've seen it. I doubt these two have seen it. Have you
never
looked at
seen
it?
it.
Oh, okay.
I've given multiple things, but I can always resend I'll send a copy of it to the clerk and he can send it to you all.
Who did the last one?
University of Idaho,
What did they charge?
58,000.
Well,
And I will tell you, it was the worst experience ever in the state of Idaho. They use us as an example. Why not to use the University of Idaho to ever do one?
And the thing about using BSU right now is they already have a lot of the information from all of the website that they've updated for us and working currently on other things that are here. So they have a lot of information about the region right now.
It's pretty much the going rate.
Personally, I think we need a plan. I mean, yes, there will be, in the future, there will be opportunities for grant funding.
It's
No doubt
basically,
about it.
basically an insurance plan is what it is.
kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, without it, you can't do anything. You're
That's
just
what I mean.
stuck.
If
But
you
yeah.
have that insurance.
And I will
policy,
tell you
Yes,
that
we
the
have.
mitigation standards will be revamped. They have said that multiple times every week during my weekly meeting update from Idaho Office of Emergency Management. The way we do mitigation today will not be the way we're going to do it in the future. So what funding mechanisms are available, how much it is, the parameters in which to ask for that money is all going to be different than it is today.
Well, because FEMA is going to be rerouted under another agency, and the administration has talked about giving a lot more money to the states. So we may have the opportunity to have closer conversation.
No
when
one
people
knows
are
what
here.
that looks like.
No,
so,
they don't.
And that, even the administration back there knows about our catastrophic fires out here and what it takes to help us out.
I don't believe they understand and fathom the disaster
Oh, I
recovery
doubt if
efforts
they
needed.
understand it, but I mean, they know about
Sorry,
it
I
enough
just
that
don't.
they're,
I don't trust it.
they're changing the world and wanting to do the logging and whatnot.
I've been doing this for 39 years. I don't trust them at all.
It's
So
changing,
what
though.
options do we
Scope is
have?
changing.
I mean, obviously,
Well,
we don't have
the
a
thing
plan.
is
We don't
we
have an
could do the plan. We can do the plan. We're set to do the plan. We have the steering committee in place. We've already done a bunch of pre-work the last few months since before the beginning of the year with planning projects with each of the agencies. And BSU has done a lot of the formatting already in her research through BSU. Dr. Brand has done, she's made it so that whether she did it or someone else, they could grab that information and throw it into, because it would all be the correct information needed for the sections of the plan. We've already talked to Idaho Department of Lands with the countywide fire protection plan on how it would fit into the all hazard mitigation plan in its chapter and then in the appendices. So we've done quite a bit of work already. On the county side, it's just we need the person to put it all together. I can't do that. Now, some emergency managers do, but that's because that's all they do. Like, Ada County has a team of people who do it, so they don't need to hire a person. Blaine County has 2 or 3 people plus themselves, so they just do it on their own. But it takes them a long time to do it because they got other things to do. But they do their own plan.
So who did our last one?
University of Idaho did our last one. Rather, they tried to, and I finished it. But it took 2.5 years to do that. Because,
they kept having people graduate and wouldn't complete their task. So,
and the person who signed it, Dr. Frazier, ended up going to Georgetown University and left the ball. Not just for ours, but for 10 counties.
So if we authorize to go ahead and do it, you said Dr. Brand and those folks down there at BSU would be the ones putting this thing together.
And
I think
I've just always suggested them because they're doing a lot of the legwork now to get the process started. So it'd be a much smoother flow. I've already talked because we're already delayed a month in hiring that if they see us doing our due diligence with our writer and the county's participation, we can extend over the October 16th date and utilize the current plan for any incidents that may need hazard mitigation dollars if they're available after that, till we get the plan. And I think they could extend us up to 12 months is what they did for me last time. They could do that this time too, knowing that we're determining whether we're going to do the plan and pay for it out of county funding.
No, not all the counties, but a lot of counties are doing this.
There's only a couple counties who don't do a plan.
So most of them do.
Like,
So
yeah,
she's
98% of them do.
She's probably used to doing them and whatnot.
ESU has never done a plan, but Dr. Brand is extremely smart and she has a very great team who is still with her and sticking through her even though they took all her money away. They're still working on the county stuff right now. still doing what they can, where I'm helping as best I can. Others in the county are helping her get the information they need because she doesn't want to leave us hanging. And like I said, her and her team have made it so that the information they are gathering is we can transfer that to the plan. So I felt because of that I would recommend her because she's already moving forward. She's reviewed our plan in depth. She's had very many conversations with the all hazard mitigation specialist at IOEM already, in hopes that we do move forward with the process and she does get the project.
I think every county should have a mitigation plan for hazards. I mean, it just, if we never receive funding, still, it talks about how this county is gonna function together with all of our partners during an emergency.
I agree. The plan is a good, useful tool for continued collaboration. Our local emergency planning committee and our fire working group all participate. So we have every agency covered, including schools, cities, private sector people are all participating in these two things to help build a plan.
We'll have to use PILT, is what I'm assuming, Doug.
That another
If
day.
the funding is not going to
I think it's important that we have one, so I would move.
This wasn't an action item.
Oh, no, you're
It
correct.
was just a
it's not.
discussion.
Yeah, this is discussion.
I did it as discussion because I would assume you'd want to talk, have a good conversation with the clerk, and then really think about the importance of the plan and why we should have one, rather than just deciding today whether we should do one or not.
That's
A
sold.
quick study. It
I
doesn't take
know
me a
it's
minute,
easy with
Juan.
you because we have conversation all the time, but not as much for the others.
That's true.
It's old
Sorry.
saying, Mon, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
I think our.
It could be in our
constituents-
favor. We don't ever know. The
Yep.
state could say, we'll create our own hazard mitigation policy, and you have to have a plan, and we'd have one in place already.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, Commissioners, I do think it was a discussion with the commissioners that have at the state and the representatives at the state.
Absolutely.
Just to say, is there gonna be any additional money coming from the state to assist the counties with this expenses?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's important. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't important.
Well, and where it impacts every county, I would imagine that IAC is gonna take this one up during the next legislative session. Oh,
Emergency management and all of its workings are very important. We've shown that.
Oh, yeah.
I
It
mean,
can't-
in my time as chief, I've shown how important first response and emergency management is. I hope to everyone how
I
important
think
it
our
is.
constituency would expect that this county have an emergency management plan. I mean, I think that would be neglectful if we didn't, in my opinion, but, all right, we'll put it back on it as an agenda item then, and we'll talk about it, and everybody can do their due diligence, and
Okay, so real quick, I'm working on some paragraphs for Cinda in the comprehensive plan under the wildland ordinance section. And then we're currently working on 3 maps for the county. One is the countywide fire protection plan map. The other is the evacuation zone map. Once we get those 2, then we can establish the hazard zones by polygon based associated with the evacuation zone. So we could say, what hazard type they are. Then we can determine whether we're going to utilize specific portions of the wildland urban interface fire code for those particular areas when we build. So I would ask, I know that there is a $10,000 fund for emergency management. I would ask if we could use $1,000 to build the evacuation map. That's what I'm asking for. So I know it's not an action item, but to think about, we need that funding to do that. So I can have your GIS person, Kara, work with us to build the plan prior to the season.
I will tell my other commissioners that that is what we put it in the budget for, is so that we had these types of funding available in case Just came up.
And it'll be around
Right.
$1,000. It'll be a couple of days of stakeholders involved in creating that emergency evacuation route or evacuation zones, not routes.
Cool.
And it's going to come out with the PSA announcements and the definitions of Ready, Set, Go, the communication line that we use so that everybody can sign up or everybody knows where to go look for information as incidents arise. It's one big PSA thing with, hey, by the way, here's where you live, and that's your new zone that you should know till the entire time you live there. So when we're talking about your zone, you know that's for you.
People appreciate that. They like seeing.
Well, they're
Visuals.
creating the task force for the state, so we're going to be sort of the catalyst of here's how it should look, here's the information, and then I'm on that task force to try and get the state doing. And then it's already moved towards the adjacent counties. They're going to take our stuff and then they're going to use that and then they're going to build their own. So all of our adjacent counties, we're hoping by fire season this year, we have all the zones in place, all the communication efforts in place, and how we're going to streamline that for all of the counties at once. And then the same definitions for Ready, Set, Go, so that we're all speaking the same language, so there's no confusion in any of the adjacent counties, whether you're on that side of the mountain, this side of the mountain, or down south or up north. I'm working on that right now.
We'll get that on an agenda as an action item also.
Thank you so much. That's all I had, unless you have questions.
No.
I only went over a couple minutes.
You got started a couple of minutes late, so
That's okay. All right, thank you
we won't
guys.
say who started it late. Thanks, Juan. Do you want us to wait for you? Do you want us to go on?
No, go on.
Okay. Up next is Valley Soil and Water Conservation Districts Initiative on Closing America's Wastewaters. Janet Cherry is with us, I'm assuming, online. Okay. Karina, are you starting the conversation or?
I don't need to.
Okay.
As long as you can repeat that. Access to.
Access gap progress.
Ms. Cherry, are you able to hear me? Good afternoon, can you hear me? Unfortunately, we cannot hear you at this moment.
I don't have a computer, so I can't even go and look, so. Is that in our packet? Don't think that that was in
Don't
our
remember
packet,
seeing
but.
Yes, we did. Neil would have it on his, Harry's computer's down. You want me
I'm
to
fine. Listen. I did see that. I think it just came separately outside of our packets.
Cherry, are you able to hear us? We cannot? No, unfortunately, we still can't. Do you see the phone number? Maybe try that.
Is that gonna ring? Oh, it'll be on.
Okay, we have a separate link for you. Can you talk now? Looks like you're muted. Are you muted your, okay.
Can you unmute her from our end?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go up to the
Ms. Sherry,
mic.
can you possibly just provide me with your phone number in the chat, and then I'll have the commissioners call you from our phone.
Sorry? It looks like she's muted on the system, so I don't
I wish she did that just because she.
feedback or something.
Okay, I'm gonna close this Teams meeting, Ms. Sherry, we'll just do this virtually via the conference phone.
What do I have to dial to get outside? Do it? Dial 1?
Yeah, here, let's just take over.
To do something. I think I have to dial an 8 or a 9 or something.
Hi, this is Janet.
Hi, Janet. Sherry Moppin.
Hey, Commissioner Moffin. Sorry
Hello.
for the technical difficulties. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully you can hear us and everybody can hear you, so.
Correct. Right. And I left the meeting so there wouldn't, somehow it was echoing really bad. So I just
Okay.
got out of the Teams meeting. But I'll try rejoining the Teams now, at least.
I think Doug just turned it off, so.
I can if we want to.
I'm gonna try and,
Oh, then don't worry about it. That's fine. We can just do this the old-fashioned way on the phone. Yeah, that's fine. Well, appreciate you all having me. It's been a while since I talked to you. I think I spoke with the commissioners back in July of last year. I can't even remember when it was, but here to give an update on the Closing America's Wastewater Access Gap project and how we're supporting South Lake Recreational Water and Sewer District, and also offering our assistance to City of Cascade. Still working with Mayor Nisula on supporting City of Cascade, but for now I'll focus on our efforts and support to the South Lake Recreational Water Sewer District. So I did attend the Sewer District Board meeting on April 18th, where it was decided that the board would move forward with a study, but we would call it a phase 1 study and focus on the West Mountain subdivision, where the highest concentration of developed lots reside, and also the area where there's been the most concerns about the on-site systems. And at the meeting on April 18th, the board committed to doing public outreach and doing a press release. We're developing a press release for the board to consider at their May meeting. And then we scheduled a community meeting on June 20th, which that will be part of the press release to announce a public meeting on June 20th. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions or comments on what happened at the April 18th board meeting.
I don't really have any questions about the board meeting. There's a lot of conversation about those units that were withdrawn from the sewer district, and I'm curious if that was addressed at the board meeting, and is there a way to re-engage with those landowners?
Right, so we have discussed it. That wasn't discussed in detail at the board meeting. I think Leonard might have mentioned that. Leonard Long was attending that board meeting as a community member. But that is something we do need to address. I have to say, I've never come across this situation working with other sewer districts where properties could opt out, but we do recognize for this project to be successful, we have to have as many participants as possible and connect as many properties as possible. So, I know Cinda, is Cinda in the room?
She is. Can you hear Cindy?
Great, yeah, so Cinda, thanks for helping us sort through that when we made the map, and we were trying to figure out, where the boundaries are, and then recognize some of the properties had opted out. And if I heard correctly, there's paperwork now that's filed with the property at the clerk and recorder's office. How do we get those properties back into the sewer district?
Are you asking Cinda that, or?
I'll ask anybody in the room who wants to answer that. I have to admit, I've never come across this before in a project, so I don't know what the process looks like and how you get a property back in to the sewer district, annexed back in.
Do you know that, or is that something?
No,
we
I
should
think
open
we
Brian
should
up?
probably ask our legal counsel
Yeah.
if it was done properly for them to opt out in the beginning anyway. It was 2 prosecutors ago. I did find that out. And was it even legal to remove them? I think our current legal counsel should probably look at that and finding out how to re-annex them into the district if it was done properly.
I think that's just gonna be a follow-up then with our prosecuting attorney's office and get that answer. How
Sure.
quickly do you need that, Janet?
Oh, yeah, I have to say that's not an immediate need. That's something we would like to definitely address in what we're calling the phase 1 study, where we are focusing on the West Mountain subdivision, but again, recognizing we definitely want the highest level of participation of property owners in order to make this project financially feasible. Does anybody have a sense, are there properties within West Mountain subdivision who did petition to opt out of the sewer district, or are most of these lots on the east side of the lake?
Cinda is telling me they're on the east side of the lake.
Okay, and what I thought too, when we looked at those subdivisions, that's where it was. Okay, so it may not be critical in phase, what we're calling phase one, but it just does need to get addressed.
No, you can't. Even though they'd opted out, they can't be forced onto the sewer district.
Well, that's what we're gonna ask. That's what we're gonna ask the civil attorney. Were they legally removed correctly? If not, how do you get them back on?
That's a can of worms.
Larry, do you want me to include you on an email?
I'm happy to handle this since I've
That'd be
been
great.
participating in
You go
South
for
Lake.
it. Great. Thank you.
Does it show the?
Was focused on the
App reflex. I don't see any on the west side.
It's along the lake on the east side. is where we're at.
And Commissioner Caldwell is going to be following up on this.
Great, okay, thank you, that will be, I really appreciate that.
What else do we need?
Right, well, just explaining how, what we're calling phase one, how we'll accomplish that work. As, an EPA contractor, the company I work for, ERG, we are able to subcontract with Keller Associates to do the work for the sewer district, so it's at no cost to the sewer district. Just to explain why we're focusing on West Mountain subdivision right now is that the funding that's available that supports my work and the ability for my firm to subcontract with Keller Associates, that funding is available through December 31st, 2026. And we just didn't think we could do the entire South Lake Recreational Water and Sewer District service area by the end of 2026. It's just a huge area, and just a lot needs to happen to study an area this large. So the sewer district requested we just focus on phase one. That makes a lot of sense, or excuse me, focus on West Mountain subdivision, and we all agreed that we can study that area, have a really solid report, and in the meantime, we can support the sewer district and applying for funding to continue this study, recognizing it will continue on past December 31st, 2026. So we will help the sewer district apply for funding, and there's planning grant funding from Idaho Department of Environmental Quality. Their Clean Water State Revolving Fund program does have planning grants that can support this work. I'll just share some of the concerns that the board members have expressed to me, the sewer district board members, just about this project, and just some frustration over past efforts and not being successful in finding a solution. So the sewer district board is looking to hear support from all of you as county commissioners. They did hear from City of Cascade, where the city council back in December voted to participate in a regional study, so that's been great. It's just been hard to connect with Mayor Nisula, given her busy schedule, but I know the mayor is committed to working with the sewer district when we discuss regional options and what would it look like to send the wastewater to City of Cascade's treatment plant, and at what point would that exceed the capacity of the City of Cascade treatment plant. But yeah, the board is wanting to hear from all of you on your support, and as the sewer district does look at options, they will be looking at options that won't involve city of Cascade. It's just part of the alternatives analysis. And I know they've looked at those options in the past with the lagoon. We had a great conversation with Cinda a while ago why the lagoon on, I think it was the Davis property, did I get that right? Why that wasn't acceptable.
McGregor property.
Based on based on its location and what the sewer district needs to think about it. They're looking at doing their own wastewater treatment plant versus pumping it to City of Cascade. And it's important to look at these options just to make sure the best alternative and most cost-effective alternative gets selected. I think you saw the fact sheet. Did that get shared with everybody that we put together for the project?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And just making sure that all of you are okay with how we listed the county as a partner, and if you have any concerns with that, please let me know. But I think that's what we'll print up and start passing out, and then we'll have very similar verbiage in the press release we're working on. And do the commissioners want to see the press release?
Prior to it going out, yeah.
Okay, sure. We
I'm
could do that.
very happy to put Valley County on as a partner. And it started this whole conversation, so yes, we'd love to stay involved.
Great. Yeah, and it's been great having Commissioner Davis at our meeting, so thank you for being there.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Caldwell, I'm sorry. I had Davis on the brain. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we are preparing that press release. We'll share that at the May 16th Sewer District Board meeting. And then, like I said, in that press release, we will announce a public meeting about the project and starting to interact with the public about the project and what needs to happen moving forward. So those were my updates. Any questions? And again, I appreciate you taking the time to have me talk and give updates and get your feedback.
Janet, this is Catlin. Are we having a meeting on Wednesday, or is that postponed?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I'm very excited about the progress that's being made. I'm very appreciative of Commissioner Caldwell and her work on this.
Right.
And, look forward to
I
a
do
positive outcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that little delay there. We are trying to find funding to sample some of the privately owned wells up in West Mountain subdivision and within Lake Cascade and the City of Cascade wells to test for pharmaceuticals and personal care products. I'm having trouble finding funding for this work. These samples, just to get one sample analyzed, is $1,500. It's very costly. But we were hoping to do some of that testing to definitively say, because the contaminants we would test for would only be generated by humans, and the pharmaceuticals we take, such as blood pressure medicine, diabetes, medicine to address diabetes.
How many tests do you need? I mean, what kind of a budget are you talking about?
Right. What we would like to do is 2 to 3 private wells, the City of Cascade well, and then 2 lake samples. So, 6 samples. So that's quite a bit of money to get these analyzed. I don't know if you're aware of any funding. I approached a few folks at Idaho DEQ and haven't found a source of funding yet.
Central District Health have any?
That is Central District Health.
I have not talked to Mike Reno at Central District Health about that. He's been on our meetings and hasn't offered money, but we can ask him Wednesday if he has money. sampling. And if we do find the presence of these contaminants, it does open up another funding source for this project. So that would be great.
$9,000.
Right,
You guys want
$9,000.
to take it out of pill?
Do Friends of Lake Cascade have any access to grant funding?
Right, I'm talking to them. They did put in, well, actually, no, I'll take that back. It was Valley Soil and Water Conservation District. Is Dorina in the room?
She is, yes.
Okay, and I know they were looking for funding, but I don't know if they've heard. They put in a couple applications. I think this might go above and beyond the monitoring that they were planning to do in their funding applications.
I was just hoping we could find someone to share,
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. If we put in half, could we find a match somewhere?
because
I'd never talk to Mike, and ask him if he had anything.
I'm sure these results will be used much farther and wider than just this program, so.
There's just so many questions all the time about the algae, and, you know, people ask us all the time to do something. Well, this is something the county can do. You know, try and eliminate at least this cause or find a path forward. Need to come out of pill.
I don't think we can decide on it today, can we, without it being an action?
Let's research some of those other avenues and see if they.
I think the county would be open to support of some kind, but maybe if, you know, we can talk with Central District Health, Valley Soil and Water can come up with some, you know, maybe we can all do it collaboratively.
That'd be wonderful. Okay. Would it help if I just did a one-page summary and write-up of what this is, so you have something to work off of?
And what, I guess my question would be, what will it do for us? What are we gonna find out from that, that'll help down the road?
Show us what's contaminating the lake. If the wells are positive for human pharmaceuticals as well as the lake, and it'll show that there's a connection,
But where is it coming from?
like septic systems.
I think it's coming from septic systems.
That's the whole power of the conversation behind it. If you can prove that, then there may be additional resources to
Sure.
help mitigate that, so.
So Janet, that would be great to go ahead and send us a little one-pager on that, please.
Yeah, you bet. Right, yeah, to answer the question there, yes, we're targeting contaminants that can only come from humans and trying to make that link that, yep, we've got failing or inadequate on-site systems that are affecting the shallow aquifer. Hoping they don't show up in City of Cascades well, but boy, those wells sit right at the bottom of the lake where everything flows towards those wells. So I'd be really interested to see what's happening in their wells. And the mayor said, sure, you can sample just so it doesn't cost her anything. And then
I would think the city of Cascade would want to know that.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. and
Residents,
Leonard said he could
residents most certainly will.
take the samples. Leonard Long, as Friends of Lake Cascade, he could take them. He just doesn't have this type of money for this analysis.
You want to follow up, Catlin? You sit on that board. Maybe you could bend some elbows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we are out of time. So thank you, Janet, for the conversation. Sounds like we have a couple action items to follow up on, and then Catlin will continue to keep us updated on what's happening, so.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, you also. Okay, well, I don't have my computer, so you guys are gonna have to help me out on this one, but the next is an action item, the request for the proposal for the market research and strategic master plan design for the fairgrounds. So we received two submittals on this. One from Norris Design, which was $75,000, and then one from Clearwater, but I can't remember exactly what Clearwater's was. I believe it was 56,000, something like that.
I was reading all those. The moment I read this, it was like, feel like this should be just tabled one more year. And just give it time. I mean, we're gonna be a year out getting this gold dust thing built and getting stuff out of there. I mean, right now to spend 75 grand just for a study. I don't know, I just feel like,
It's 56. The whole purpose and the idea behind it is that as we move off, Ken needs this document in order to try and find funding. The CDBG grants, there's $500,000 out there a year for our community to do this type of work. So it's, I mean, we could wait, but there are some serious upgrades that need to be done down there.
oh, I know.
And if this is the document that we need, it would be a good investment on the return. We can get even a $250,000 CDBG grant and start building capacity down there. There's just quite a lot of
But is this, the money for this, is this coming out of county funds?
would be out of pill, yes. Just give it to me, Jeremy. Make sure.
The concept could be if you have a good plan and it's really, well thought out, then you can have that buy-in. Because there are potential individual or companies, let's say potentially Simplot or somebody that might help invest into this area, but wants to see a professionally done engineered plan.
Oh, I get it.
Opposed, so you get that buy-in, and that's
You had wanted someone who had done some of the, and I know that Clearwater has, but was there another?
Oh, you got it back.
there was, and the email that I got back, and it was unfortunate, but it says Vonnie, we have a small committee that's just very interested in trying to support and help this, but Miss Vonnie Claff, since late last year, Perford had met with him and this gentleman, Glenn Calvert, and they had to have a conversation about the master plan for the fairgrounds. From the first time they spoke, they felt like the project she described was exactly in line with their expertise. He was the general manager of the engineering firm in Texas and they're also licensed in Idaho. They were formed to specialize in multi-purpose venues for fairgrounds. We have worked in many states since our founding, since 2008. We were planning to team with an architectural firm in Washington to pursue the project there in Valley County. And they had just received an email prior to the due date, a few days prior, that the firm notifying them that they decided not to pursue the project. But they would still like to assist in the master plan effort for your fairground. I understand that you have received a single response, or they just speak to the responses. Would it be possible to talk to them and help pursue the project? Anyway, basically,
So
they
didn't
can't
put
do
in-
it. Yeah, so that's unfortunate because they had done Rigby, Idaho, so fairgrounds. So we were kind of hoping that being an event center there and there.
I think that too, that we have the capacity to do this. So once we
Right.
get this done and put out, there will be a lot of community input, and that's where your group's gonna come.
Yeah.
And so helping with that conversation about a final plan is where the community input will come in.
Part of that plan too, I just wanted a little clarification, if this is possible, about the parking lot behind Ameritidal. There was discussion that it would come towards the fairgrounds, and thoughts are, just for future bigger scope, if it was on the back side of it, if the parking lot was put there, that way you don't lose that area that you could potentially still have for the fairgrounds, and that your emergency exit would go out further towards on the other side of that fairground. So that would be southwest instead of southeast.
All of that.
So
can
instead
be
of going back up, because if you have events down there and if your parking lot runs right down into the fairgrounds, I could see that. It's just,
I don't think we'd be running into the fairgrounds, but
Yeah, they would take out all
it'd
the
be a
trees right
long,
there on the.
it'd be long and just kind of flow, that whole area would be flowing down into there. We'll never use that much, but it gives you an access out of there to take the access up beside the, between the Maritidal and the highway. That, we'd have to look at all
Never.
that.
Yeah.
That's just all.
I just, meaning, I guess, in this whole general big picture, can that conversation be part of this bigger plan? I guess, or like, because I could see that having a long term effect with the whole, you know what I mean? So,
Not exactly visualizing what you're saying, but
okay.
yes. No, don't worry about it right now.
No, that's
Yes,
okay.
I
I'm
think that
getting an
definitely could
aerial
be-
view. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that can definitely be part of the planning process as we move forward. That's the purpose of this, so that there is a master plan. We don't make decisions on a short-term basis that impact our ability to do things in the long term. And that's why I would hesitate to wait. Yes, we're gonna have to use PILT funds to do it. And our PILT funds are, we're starting to say we're gonna have to use PILT funds to do it. But this is an important next step. And we have to have it to do any kind of grants as we move forward. I really don't want to see improvement of those buildings for 4-H if there is something where they need to be eradicated.
Remove, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to be putting money behind something where we need to move something around.
I agree.
My concern though is we just spent 40,000 of PILT on a vehicle. We just heard we have to have a hazard mitigation plan to the tune of 65,000. This is another 60,000, all outside of budget.
That's what PILT is. PILT's the one-time projects. And so those, we don't use PILT for anything other than those one-time projects. And we will have it. I mean, that is really what PILT is for these types of account, or these types of projects that we have, kind of our savings account. We put a $1.5 million, kind of a minimum on it, but we will have an additional 500,000 here very shortly. We do have some.
Yeah,
Planning
hopefully it's
available.
a bigger scope of planning that really generates income down the road too. Like that's the bigger concept. But I can get an aerial view done. That's what we're working on. And I was gonna work on an image that can be large enough that we could put behind plexiglass. So we could,
Don't worry about
Mark
any of
it up.
that. That's what this plans.
they'll help
that's-
do that.
Yes,
So,
that's what
okay.
this, whichever one is chosen, that's what they will do.
Like when we can, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Worry
yeah.
about that. They
I
will
mean,
work
doesn't
on.
mean we can't move things around, but they give us a concept, so.
Hopefully it's an actual master plan, but I don't know your guys' feelings. I mean, I just feel pretty strongly that this is the time to do this. We're exiting that and get something in place so we can start writing some grants and recoup this. This is the long-term vision for this is a moneymaker for the county. I hate to do anything more on that rodeo grounds until we actually have a plan in place, because we've already spent a lot of money there without any long-term vision for that whole area.
Yeah, I was just talking about the money up front. It's been, we got hit 2 or 3 times here today. It's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, we definitely have some things coming up, that is for certain, but old funding is what we
Commissioners,
use
if
it
I
for.
can, I haven't asked for my opinion.
Go right
If you
ahead.
wouldn't
Clerk
mind
Miller, we would
just
like to hear from
providing
you.
briefly with my opinion on the matter. I'd like you to refer you guys to the master facilities plan, and the priority that this area was actually priority number 3. Potentially should be moved up to priority number 2, because the courthouse was identified as priority number 2 with the acquisition of the Cascade Annex. That kind of eliminates or might lower, for lack of better terms, the courthouse priority. My humble opinion would up the fairground be priority number 2, and just to refer you guys to the master facilities plan.
So do they,
I appreciate that.
does Cameron and them already have a vision for that area, or it was just on their bucket list?
So, Commissioner Thompson, this was after all of the input from the community, from the committee that was developed to design or to complete the master facilities project. After all that was done, if you recall, the priorities were identified in the plan. I guess that work has been done to determine priorities for the county. Has that area, anything been done specifically at Valley County Fairgrounds?
Okay.
We do have two bids on the table. Clearwater is familiar with this area. They've already worked with us on the AmeriTitle building. I would prefer to use Clearwater on it, and they were the lower bid.
I would too, if we're gonna use somebody. Cameron and them are,
I'm pretty sure that we learned that we have to, right? That we have to.
Yeah, the lower bid.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, if I can just say one more thing about I just want to read verbatim what was indicated about the fairgrounds scenario. The Citizens Committee that was, I guess, created, recommended that the county pursue a fairgrounds master plan to define the next steps. This will enable the county to work in conjunction with the Fair Board to determine a layout and the facilities that best fit the site's need. It can also take into consideration the economic impact of improvements to the fairgrounds, analyze opportunities for additional capacity or structures that could allow the fairgrounds to be used for more events, increase economic activity, and further provide amenities to the county. I want to share that with the commissioners as well, and with that, I will.
no, appreciate,
Thank you.
appreciate that. Been a while since I've looked at that.
Well, I'll make the motion that we move forward with the Clearwater proposal for $58,250 for the design services for Valley County Fairgrounds.
For a second?
Second, was that with Clearwater? Did you mention them? Okay, second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Reach out to Cameron and let him know that we are moving forward with this, and then they will be coming up with a game plan on next steps and involving the Fair Board and your group that's in the community, and as well a lot of other community members, I'm sure, and employees, and kind of like we did with the AmeriTitle building, they'll do a clear synopsis of what we hope to accomplish, and then we'll have a plan in place and we can start writing grants. Ken, you're gonna be busy. Yay!
I want
And
you,
it's so exciting
I
because
want you to run out of something to do.
really.
the rodeo grounds are, you know, it really is awesome because the rodeo grounds are, you know, right in the middle of a huge upgrade. And now we can do the same for the fair and that whole area and, you know, plan some events. So I'm very excited about this.
Well, there might
Move forward.
really are potential companies out there. I don't know how the county fixes putting a name on, donates a
Absolutely.
building, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been approached by a couple of individuals. If the plan.
Nice. Perfect. Let's do it.
I'd like to see a sign on the road that points.
Neil Thompson Event Center.
Yeah, what is
Take $1 million.
Water, electric, or what is your
We could put
company?
a Neil Thompson.
Yeah, exactly.
You get me in all kinds of trouble.
At least we didn't say the Doug Miller Center, you know. He started hearing about that one, so.
I was gonna do one of those little signs on the fairground billboard.
Good, nice. All right, last on our agenda is just an opportunity for the general public to present, and I don't see anybody present to do that. So with that, we will close